Okay, welcome everybody to another session of our Sunday COVID crisis comeback, secrets to goal achievement mastery, Sunday MasterMind discussion. And very grateful that so many of you joining me tonight. We have a really powerful topic to discuss, so we're going to jump right into it. And as you saw in the post in our Facebook page, and in your instant messenger and in your email. For those who follow those things, then you know that our topic tonight is a very thought-provoking topic, and that is, it's not about how much you know, it's about how much you be. Because being trumps knowing, and being is all about coming from that highest part of you in order to create value. Knowledge alone does not create value. Knowledge applied to making some sort of contribution to others or having an exchange of value, that brings value and that brings worth, and that puts, you know, a worth on the knowledge, the information, the experience that you have. But just having it without doing something with it is not really contributing to, affecting the world and really affecting your ability to achieve your goals or to find that direction that you are looking for to head in the new chapter in your life. So I wanted to bring up that discussion tonight. You know that the world is moving very, very quickly. You know that technology is advancing faster in the last 20 years than it has in probably a century. We are facing quantum jumps in information technology, artificial intelligence, and robotics. And so the next generation of folks who are coming into the work world are going to face enormous challenges. Because more and more, just having a document that says you studied some stuff and you know it is not going to be enough to compete for the growing smaller number of slots of workers that will happen as technology begins to advance and take over more and more positions. I know right now, post-COVID, we are in a worker shortage. You know, there's not enough workers, but a lot of workers have chosen not to come back to work. A lot of workers have quit and have decided to start their own businesses and such. But the handwriting is on the wall that in time, it's not enough just to rely on either what you know and what you've learned, or rely on someone else taking care of you. It's really important that we are looking every day at what value, how much value am I creating this day, this week, this month, that I can exchange for opportunities to move forward and to progress towards achieving my goals. Does that make sense to everybody? Right? Okay. So I guess what I want to explore today is having each of us take a look at how do I create value? And how do I create value by being, not just by knowing, right? And let's look at that for a moment. What does it mean, being, right? What does it mean, being? Well, it really means living in the heart, the very center of your highest level of consciousness, of values, of talents, of creativity, of resourcefulness, of compassion, right? All of these things that are very different from information. They are part of us. It's part of our beingness rather than just our knowledge. So the way we will create the most value is if we are constantly and consistently moving forward in our ability to be at our highest level. Remember what Shakespeare said, to be or not to be, that is the question. That was a profound realization those hundreds of years ago, right? To truly be who we really are and what our highest potential is will equate to the progress we make, the quality of life we have, and our ability to move forward in the survival scale, right? So I'm going to stop here for a moment for any questions, comments. We're going to go into small groups, and I really want you to explore in the small groups this question. What is the difference between knowing and being, and how can I be and create the most value in my world? Each of you as individuals, each of us as individuals. How can I use my beingness and create the greatest value in the world that I'm living in? And how does that impact me achieving my goals? So I'm going to open it up to questions. And you can use your little electronic hand, and that will show up on my participant screen of who's asking a question, and then I will call on you. All right, so who is going to be second? All right. All right, who's going to be third? No questions? No comment? Oh, here we go. Mark.
Yeah, I just I wondered if you could maybe comment, Mike, on the connection between being who we are at the highest level we can be versus our tendency to slip into, let's say, kind of more program behavior, more addictive behavior, bad habits, all those kinds of things that we're kind of trying to move out of. And I think we all experience from time to time this sort of slipping back and taking a step forward and two steps back and half a step forward and two steps. We're all over the place sometimes. Mm-hmm. And kind of developing whatever it is, discipline or whatever, to effectively make that step into beingness.
Yeah. That question is directly related to why I designed the first step in my 9-step program to be about assessing and developing a really clear picture about who are you. So it's all about, how deep is your connection with your awareness of who am I truly, right? Who am I? What did I come into this life with? What values, right? What abilities, what strengths, what weaknesses that I could strengthen, dreams. That's the first thing. Is we often only pay attention to, what do I need to know to get the degree? What do I need to know to get the job? What do I need to know to get whatever the minimums, right? And then just kind of run on automatic pilot, versus being really aware and spending time each day, each month on assessing the decisions I'm making, where are they coming from, and the results I'm getting, how does that relate to the decisions that I'm making, right? Because a lot of our decisions come from patterns. They are patterns that we have developed over time. And often a lot of those patterns are not constructive, but they're familiar. And we've equated following through with a pattern, even though it is not constructive, the fact that we followed through with a pattern, something that was comfortable, our brains release the same dopamine as if we followed through on a pattern that was constructive. So as far as the brain is concerned, if we did something familiar and it brought us pleasure, it's just as good as something that we do that brings us advancement and growth, but it might take some extra effort. It might take some more discipline. As far as the brain is concerned, doing that thing that causes us to slip, if that thing is pleasurable, the brain says, it's still a win, right? Because I got my shot of dopamine, right? I got my doggy treat. And that's really parts of the brain. All they care about is the Scooby snacks. Remember Scooby? Scooby Doo, the little Scooby snacks, or your dog has treats or your cat has treats, right? So we want to rise above that primitive state that is just looking for the Scooby snacks and look at value. What's the value I'm creating? I just came back a few days down in New York. I go down every month to see my mom. She's in an assisted living center, and we are making efforts right now to get her house ready to be sold so that we can take the proceeds of the sale and fund her comfort for the rest of her life in a really, really nice assisted living center. And I've had lawyers and I've had medical people all tell me, why are you doing that? You're going to spend all your inheritance. Why not just put her in a nursing home that will be paid for by the government? And then when she dies, you get to keep all the money. All right. That would be a pleasurable thing for my brain to walk away with all of that money. Right. But that's not where my values are. That's not in line with my beingness. And so my sister and I make the hard decision to say, no, even though it would do so much for our lives to have those funds, right? It would make retirement so much more comfortable. The right thing to do is to give my mom the best, most comfortable, and healthiest future that money can buy. Because number one, it's her money. And number two, she deserves it. And number three, I would want the opportunity to be in a safe place. And if any of you know the status of nursing homes that are funded by the government right now, the quality of care is declining. More and more people are dying there due to illnesses they contract, infections they contract. A lot of the help comes from different parts of the world. The commitment and the care is not always there to give the best quality of health. I actually went to a funeral this week from a family member who passed away because he had contracted pneumonia twice at such a facility because they just weren't taking care of him properly and they weren't paying attention to the details, right? So do you see what I'm getting at? It would be easy for me to say, oh, I'm taking care of my responsibility. I'm putting her in a nursing home. I'm making sure that skilled people are taking care of her. And then I get the money. It's not me being at my highest level to do that. Me being at the highest level is I will forego the reward for the long-term benefit of knowing when I get up in the morning and look in that mirror, I know I've done the very best I can do for her. I know I've done the very best I can do to be of value to her and be an example of the values and the mentoring I've received over the years and the very things I'm trying to communicate and impart to you folks, right? I would not be true to what I teach if I took the easy road out and just kind of looked the other way and said, oh, I'm taking care of my responsibility, but am I doing it at the highest level? Mark, do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, definitely. What I'm sort of catching is values versus short-term rewards.
Yes.
So I remember hearing a story where it's about children were told that, you know, they can have the donut now, or if they wait, they get 2 of them later. And the kids that were able to delay their gratification, they followed this group and they found that they were actually more successful. So in some ways, I know you're talking more about values than, you know, getting 2 donuts in the end, more Scooby snacks. But you know, it's kind of the same idea, like being able to put off some kind of short-term reward for being true to our values.
Yes.
Is that, do I got it there?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And, you know, being true to our values comes from self-assessment, self-discovery, right? Self-exploration, and being honest at looking at what do I think, say, and do that reflects the very highest of me, the very highest of my values, of my virtues, of my choices, of my abilities, because that will come back to us, right? You'll get the 2 donuts down the road, right? Nancy, thanks for that question, Mark. Great question.
So I'm seeing if I'm grasping this. An example that happened today is that I had my friend's daughter in college call me for help with homework. And this particular young lady really, really trusts me, young person. And it was about sign language and deafness. And I used to be an expert in all of that. And I realized, well, geez, I could write the paper and do all this like in 2 seconds. Like just, you know, I felt like saying, just email it to me. I'll write and give it back to you. But I had to listen and come from, why am I having this interaction with this person? Is it really about this sign language paper? And my feeling was, no, it was about this connection with this other soul. This other soul wanted and needed my love and attention. And so, and I was watching the football game and I like didn't want to be disturbed. But I turned the football game off. And I just spent all this time with her. And then her sister chimed in and was so grateful, and she was so grateful. But it was very interesting because I thought, well, I know a lot about sign language. I mean, I had a master's degree in it back in the olden days. But that's not what she was really looking for. I don't think it was something to do with fear in her quality of life and wanting connection. And so, and she values me because I'm there for her regularly. So is that the type of thing? So I could have given her a lecture about sign language, but that wasn't the point.
No, and your beingness, you're willing to take the higher road to say, rather than give you a fish, I want to teach you how to fish, rather than give you knowledge, rather than give you information, I want to raise your standard of beingness by helping you learn the information, help you apply the information, help you have a strong enough why to go out and master that yourself, right? That is a far deeper gift and is a far greater value when we can inspire and model to people how to become more self-sufficient, how to become more creative, how to become more resourceful, how to become more independent, right? That's really important. And also the proper way of interacting with others, the proper way of collaborating with others, because here was an opportunity for her to collaborate with you. And also you might inspire her to go and collaborate with classmates to learn that together. This was a key for my son, you know, when he was going for his doctorate, was the importance of collaboration with others, because the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. When you have people come together to help each other learn and grow and achieve their goals. That's the reason I put this mastermind together. That's the reason for the last 2 years I've been doing this program. not because I want to impress you with how much I know. You know, you've known me long enough to know it ain't that impressive, but I'm doing it because I want to share and I want to inspire you to tap what you have and turn what you know and your ability to find out more and discover more, tap that and be creative to create something for yourself and not just mimic what I say, not just quote what I say, not just do what I say. That's not the goal at all. It's not the goal at all. It's to spark your imagination. I do this program to stimulate your questioning, to stimulate your curiosity, and to understand that inside of you, inside of your past experiences are the keys to your future experiences. And inside of your future is the key to your present success. So part of beingness is truly being our past, present, and future at its highest level of being conscious in functioning in those three zones. Does that make sense, Nancy?
Yeah, it does. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you so much for being there for her and inspiring her like you inspire all of us every week. Thank you. Who else?
Hey, Mike, sorry, can you just repeat what you said about the seeds that are in our past and in our future? I didn't quite capture that.
Yeah. For those of you who've been with this group for a while, you recognize that part of the power of the exercises that we do, especially in the boardroom, this process of disassociative visualization of being able to move into either back in the past to look at the experiences we had, look at the habits we developed, look at what stimulated the patterns and the desires and the goals, right? And what stimulated us to pursue certain things, right? We can go back in the past and have a deeper understanding of our why, right? We can then come into the present and utilize those keys to our why and understand by understanding our whys. And when I say our whys, I mean past experiences of success, past experience of being inspired, things that went right, things that went wrong, but we learned from it, our fears, that we can use that energy to move us forward, to overcome fears and gain momentum, right? That's going into the past and mining the past for fuel for the present. What we also teach in this program is moving into the future, seeing what it would look like, sound like, feel like, and be like to have already achieved the goals that we are thinking about pursuing. And then come back from that and reverse engineer. Well, what would it take if I were to pursue this goal right now, right? If I were to pursue recording a CD, if I were to pursue becoming a professional coach, if I were to pursue whatever it is your desire to do is create a product and sell it. First, going into the future and seeing yourself already successfully doing it, talking to your customers in the future to determine what do they value the most about what you have done for them, about what your product is, about what your service is, right? you can then reverse engineer that to build that into your process here in the present. Right? And I did this in order to create this program. I went into the past. I looked at all the most difficult times in my life. What was it that helped me get through that? What was it that I did that enabled me to move forward? How did I use focus and concentration? How did I use creativity? How did I use, collaboration, co-workership, spiritual laws, values? How did I use all of those things? I looked back, grabbed that inspiration, that knowledge, I brought it into the present, and I said, now how can I teach those things to other people? And that led me on this journey to create what we have today, right? And I go into the future regularly to see what else is possible. What else can I create? What else can I do? What kind of partnerships can I build to continue to bring value? I'm going into the future to see that. What would it look like? I take that into my boardroom. What would it look like? Right? What are the possibilities? I come back, I write them down, and then I talk to those people. Hey, I had this idea. What do you think? Could we do this together? And that's how I'm now working with, Dr. Charles Richards. That's how I'm working with several of you who are private coaching clients of mine, right? Because I go into the future and I look at what are the possibilities. What would be the possibilities if we work together creatively? And then I start acting on it. Going back to Mark's point, just if we were to just think about it and not really commit to it and not write it in our journal and not pursue it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, it would be just a thought, just a wish, right? Just a resolution, but it would not have any legs, right? It wouldn't have any legs because if it's not written down, if it's not visited every day, if we're not building strategies, if we are not taking little tiny steps each day towards that, if we are not looking into the future, bringing that back into the present, if we're not doing those things, we are more likely to not do the things that serve us in helping us achieve our goal. It's not magic, right? It really is a proven process that, there's the old saying, how do you get to Carnegie Hall, right? Those of you who are musicians, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. There's no way around that. Even if you were born a gifted musician has an even greater, they have an even greater opportunity and an even greater stimulus to advance and create value, right? And an ungifted musician still, if their desire is strong enough and they can see the connection between what they love to do, how they can provide value for others, and find some way of receiving value in return that enables them to do what they love to do and still survive, right? There are a lot of starving musicians, and some of them would not have to be starving if they understood how to use concentration, creativity, and collaboration, how to use goals, how to go into the future, bring it back, go into the past, bring it forward, and follow the tools and techniques that I'm giving in the Goal Achievement Mastery Journaling System and in the Your 9 Steps program for Goal Achievement Mastery. Doesn't matter who you are and what you love to do. These principles work with what you're trying to achieve. Make sense? Yes or yes? Samarit.
Okay. I wanted to ask you to comment on the state of being has sometimes been distorted or polluted, I would say, by, limitations and feelings of unworthiness or fears that we carry forward. And so we think we're being, but we're not being because of those things. And sometimes the thoughts are not so evident. What we get overwhelmed by is waves of emotion.
Yep.
So it's like you have to curate what is my state of being, and is it truly and authentically my state of being, or is it some carryover from traumatic experiences or other things?
So you're bringing up the difference of being cause in your life or being effect. And that's why in step 2 of your 9-step program, we look at the alignment, the communication, coordination, and cooperation between our inner resources. We look at starting the process as our future already goal achieved higher self. In spiritual terms, soul being directed by the highest of the high, right? That highest force we know. We receive inspiration from the highest that we know. If we work to stay connected to it, then we bring that down. And that's where we confront, when we begin to work with our resources, those lower bodies, that's when we have the opportunity to become affected by each of their little dramas, each of their little tornadoes, each of their reactions to the impulses that are coming their way, the stimulus, okay? So remember that. Our mind is being stimulated. There are waves of stimulus coming at our mind all the time, right? There are waves of stimulus coming at our memory to cause it to get focused on either negative memories or positive memories, possibilities or failures, right? There's an incredible wave of emotional waves and energy bombarding our emotional self. There is so much drama in the world. There is so much drama in the lives of every single person we interact with on a daily basis. It's easy to get caught up in their drama, right? Why are there so many soap operas, right? Why do people get addicted to watching them, right? It's because it reflects what happens to us on a daily basis. We get sucked into the drama to where we become addicted to the drama. Even though we don't want it, we don't like it, we become addicted to it. And that means we have become the effect. The same with our physical stimulus, the stimulus from parts of our brain that are programmed to react to something and say, uh-oh, this is going to hurt me. This is going to kill me. Change isn't good. Or, uh-oh, if I do this, people aren't going to like me. They're not going to love me. They're not going to accept me. They're going to make fun of me, right? That's what those parts of the brain do, right? So we don't want to be the effect of them. We want to be the cause. And that's why in this program, we train ourselves to have conscious conversations each day in our boardroom to meet with those parts of ourselves, to talk with them, check in with them, right? When we notice they're spinning, to sit down with them and acknowledge, hey, I notice you're spinning, right? And you're spinning out. What's the deal? Well, I had this on my drive up. Oh, this person did this, and this is messing up everything I've tried to do, and I've asked them 3 times, and they still do this, and blah, 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 blah. Right, stop. Stop. You have now given your power over to that person. Stop giving them your power. Stop giving them your attention. Stop plugging into their drama. Just stop. Okay, now that we've stopped, What is it that we need to be doing in this situation? Well, we need to be doing this. Fine. How do you need to feel? What's the kind of energy you need to have in order to make this happen? Is it an energy of despair? Is it an energy of feeling inadequate? Is it an energy of defeat? Or is it a positive energy? Is it hopeful? Is it excited, right? We can create that together. Soul can tell the mind and the memory and the emotions and the body what to do and when to do it and how to do it. We have that ability. And by paying attention, by having conversation, by giving love, by giving acknowledgement, by giving direction, and showing them, that's why as part of the exercises we do, if somebody's spinning out, we say, hey, look at the screen. Look at what's possible if we work together and you're not spinning out. Look at the possibilities. Look at what it could be like if we change what we're doing and what we're thinking and how we're feeling right now. You show them some different possibility that leads to a more positive result, and they will follow. Especially if you are focused on your beingness, and your beingness is all about being your very highest self. Because the energy that comes through when we're trying to be the very highest self, to try to serve the very highest goals and manifest the very highest value, that helps us bring everything into control. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
See, our why needs to be stronger than the whys of causing our inner resources to spin out, right? And that's also why it is important to develop the discipline, right? To develop that discipline of going within and being quiet, going within and recharging our energies, right? The discipline of reading and studying and journaling and making goals and making plans to where we are charting and taking control of our actions and progress and our thoughts. That's why it's important to work with mentors that inspire us, that challenge us, that help us find motivation and goals and tools. And that's why it's important to work with mentors who have been through what we are trying to accomplish, right? Surround yourself with people who are achieving what you want to achieve. It's again, we don't want to ask investment advice from our broke cousins, right? We want to ask and observe people who are achieving the things we're looking to achieve. Make sense? I'd like you to just discuss, right? Ideas about how could you use your beingness this week, right? To create more value for yourself and for others in your world. And how can that be connected to the goals that you are working on right now? We all have different goals we're working on. So how can practicing our working from our highest beingness, right, help us achieve the goals that we are striving for this week? So you getting what I've been talking about? Is it making sense?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's making a lot of sense.
You know, I always struggle with what am I going to talk about on Sunday? And then all of a sudden this pops up. I have this experience during the week. I'm, studying some works that I have in a class and preparing some stuff for, workbook 8, right? That process, which is like giving birth to an elephant each time I do it, it's, but it comes when at the very end, it comes, and it's always has some really interesting things in it. And workbook 8 is definitely going to have some interesting things.
Must be fun giving birth to an elephant.
Well, all I know is that it's very inspiring. It's inspiring to watch you, to see where you are, and to know that you go through the same struggles that I go through where I am,
Absolutely. Absolutely. This
and
is
that
not-
there's nothing to do but to keep putting one foot in front of the other.
well, and I have a big advantage. I have you,
Mm,
because the biggest reason I do what I do is you and all of the yous out there that are just like
mhm,
the ones I can't
mhm.
see and the ones I can see. But that's that's why I try to come from my highest level of being. And that's the value I'm always trying to create, because I can see the people in my heart that I have promised to serve, right? You here now, and then as we're recording these programs, all of those people in the future who are going to tune in and see and hear and do all of these things you're seeing, hearing, and doing now. That's why I get up and do it, even though it's really hard.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really hard. And, the social media stuff and the emailing stuff and all of that stuff is really, really hard. It takes a long time to get it right, to get exactly what people will respond to properly, but it's worth the effort. And my why is really, really strong. And so it fuels the what, and it fuels the how, and
Yeah.
it helps deal with the pain of birthing an elephant every month. So,
Oh.
all right. So we're all back. Real quick, in one sentence, I'd like for each of you to share, and really in one sentence, so that we can end in a few minutes. But in one sentence, what did you gain tonight about your why? And what did you gain tonight about your being? Because your being is connected to your why. So what did you learn tonight about your being that you can use for this week? All right, I'm just going to choose people in the order that I'm seeing them. So Marvin, what did you learn?
Take more risks.
What's the worst that can happen?
Oh, I'll fall on my face and I'll get up.
And you'll get right back up. And you won't be the first to fall on your face, and you won't be the last to get back up either. So thank you. Thank you for getting back up. Always get back up. Elizabeth.
Muted.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. And I regained some trust in my higher being to regain control of some of lower bodies that are spinning out of control.
Excellent.
And yeah.
Keep going.
Well,
Keep going.
I would really like to join the second unit of your program.
Okay,
I
we'll
feel-
talk.
Yeah,
Great. We'll talk about it.
that would be great.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Nancy.
Mine was about the spinning too, and how I'm getting very, very specific information on where I spin and when I spin, and how when I'm doing that, I'm not at my highest self, past, present, and future. But knowing that with self-discipline, I can definitely become that. So sometimes when I'm spinning, I'm feeling like I'm not trusting my higher self or trusting the process. But with this self-discipline, I can get to that point where I do trust myself and trust the process. And I just realize it's definitely doable. It's not beyond me or any of us. It's not beyond. It's fathomable.
And self-discipline is not necessarily about don't do this anymore. Stop doing this. It's about choosing to do something else.
Mhm.
And if we can make that something else more reflective of our highest self, if we can make the connection between choosing to do that other thing with bringing us one step closer to our goal and to the Scooby snacks, it becomes a choice of doing something higher versus stop doing that bad thing, right? You want to move away from that. Stop doing that bad thing to let's choose to do something greater. Let's choose to be something greater. Let's choose to serve at a much higher level. Yes?
Mhm. Mhm.
Awesome. Thank
And
you.
one more thing, there's more joy in that too.
Yes, yes.
There's more joy because when we're beating ourselves up, we're still spinning. If we're saying don't do that, we're still spinning, right? Like to me,
Yep.
that's how I take it. I'm still spinning when I'm doing that. That's
Yep.
not fun for me. So I want more fun.
Nope.
I love that.
Chloe.
Yeah, today I made the decision to lead another class
Awesome.
in my community. And because it's been 12 years that I've been doing that, and but I will miss it if I don't do it. It's something that I have a great love. I have a lot of enthusiasm. I have a great discipline to bring example and integrate what I will teach. And so it's my way to bring a greater value to others.
Excellent. And you will receive great value in return from doing it out of service. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being there doing what you're doing because it will uplift other people. Emily.
Hello. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
I love this topic, and I had a really nice discussion with Maybeth, and I was reminded to really listen to my inner voice, my inner being, because it really knows what's going on, and to not worry about thoughts or opinions of others. So that was a really good reminder.
Beautiful. Thank you. Keep going. Keep going, keep growing, and keep glowing. Mark.
I was just reminded tonight of the importance of being in that place of beingness, of love, of service, and how that it's so easy to forget. And it's such a critical piece of what I'm trying to do in my life. And I think it's one of the things that really helps to make good decisions in the moment and not slide into, the habits that take me off track. So I'm going to try to, I'm doing, I think, a lot of the right things, a lot of the work,
Phoebe,
foundational things that you've been teaching us for the past 2 years. And just this has been a great reminder for me to recognize that I'm doing what I'm doing for all the right reasons and for my highest good and for the good of others.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for keep sticking to it. Mabesy.
Did you just want one word or one sentence?
A sentence.
Oh, well, getting to the core and being authentic and being free.
Beautiful. Look forward to seeing how that works out this week. John.
I need to clearly identify the why, right? So I'm just kind of going along. But I think really, I know the why is out there, but really bringing it into focus will help set some things in the right direction.
We'll work on that in the journaling program. So looking forward to exploring that with you. Great. Thank you for being here. Larry
And
Leah.
Mike, just to clarify really quickly, I didn't mean to mislead John, because I said we do what we are doing tonight every 2 weeks. Then our group got cut off. I just wanted to let him know that we actually do have something going every week in your group.
Yep. Yeah, and we will, in addition to what I do here on Sunday nights, we will have a separate group for the journaling system, study buddy group. So I'll be talking to you about that. Larry and Leah. You'll need to unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. I guess the short sentence is just do it.
That's where we are. Yes.
That's how we get things done, and that's how we be.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
Just
are.
do it. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just saying, sometimes we just need it. We just need it. That's all.
Yep. And that becomes part of the why.
Yes.
Right?
Motivation.
Yes.
Yeah, because remember, it's not always about doing for others. It's just as important to make sure we're doing for ourselves so that we can be there at a higher level for others. So we do have to take care of ourselves in the process of serving others.
Yes.
Yep. Very important. Thank you. All right, folks. Kept you a whole lot longer than I had planned, but I thought it was valuable to do the small group and to do the recap. So I thank you for your contributions. I thank you for showing up. Thank you for your dedication to being at your highest level and serving. And I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you all. Love you all. Inspired by you all. I'm going to get out there and do things this week. I thank you for your inspiration, your dedication, and we will see you next time.